was just so good and kind, and he really took care of his patients. And if he had a patient and he could not figure out just what was going on, he was not above saying, listen, we need to call in somebody else. He always was so honest with his patients. Thought the world of them.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful thing to be able to say.
Well, he was so good. He was so good at that.
Okay. Now, I understand that you had some connection to the Davie County Rescue Squad also.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, that got started by just a whole bunch of people got together. We started, let me see, just different ones together, and let me see, I don't know hardly how to tell you how that started, but
that was a volunteer service.
it was
right?
It was a volunteer service, and there was a group in Moxville that was working with it, and then where close to the prison camp down here, that close to the house where we live, over there across the road, there was a little house that was built, and that was the first place that that's where we had our meetings, and different ones that was interested in any kind of helping people that needed help to get to the doctors or whatever. That's where we had our first meetings there, and they had we built the building that's down there now, and we had to make money to get all that started. And I can remember we would go to every place that there was going to be an auction sale. We would, some of our members, we'd get together what we needed to cook hamburgers. The words won't come to me now like I want to. To make
a fundraiser.
Yeah.
By cooking hamburgers.
Yeah. We would go to all the auction sales that we could in Davie County and sell hamburgers and hot dogs.
Okay.
To make money to help to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And one time a whole bunch of us, they got a bunch of of like pet buckets, buckets, that was about this big, and we would go to Moxville and get out there on the streets and where the cars was going and where they'd have to slow down and stop. And we had our buckets and we was asking for donations so we could help to get up that building built down there. And we had big old fish fries. We had fish fries and there would be hundreds of people come. And that's how we built the other building that was there. There was one building that was built especially where we could serve the fish fries and all of that. And the men had a certain place that they went and got the fish, and the people would come, and we would have our building would be full.
Wow.
And the ladies would come in the afternoon when we was going to have a fish fry and fix peeled potatoes so we could have French fries and that kind of stuff, because we didn't have all the modern stuff to do with, but the ladies would come and sit and peel potatoes and fix them so we could have French fries that night. And we'd have a building full of people, and they had a special place that they'd go and get the fish that was really good fish. And it was just neat. And then all the ladies in the neighborhood would make us cakes and bring them for us to have to serve cake for our dessert. And this is a little story. Maybe you shouldn't put this one in there either.
You would cut this off? Are you sure?
Well, it's not bad, but I'm not sure that it.
can we record it and then I can edit it out if we need to?
Well, would you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it was not bad, but it was Dr. Long and his wife always came.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever know Dr. Long?
I never met Dr. Long. I
Well,
know of him.
Dr. Long and his wife would always come, and we'd have the ladies in the big community would bring us cakes, and we'd just have a whole bunch of them sitting on the table there all wrapped up. And when Dr. Long and his wife, they always came to every fish fry. They never missed that. But she always would come on to the kitchen, and she's going to buy a cake from us. She wanted a cake to take home, and she'd say, have you got one that looks like it's fallen? Have you ever made pound cakes and they fall?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Well, that's the kind she wanted. That's the kind that Dr. Long's wife would, she'd always come, and so she could look at them. She said, do you have one that looks like it's fallen? And if she did, that's what she wanted. That's the kind she wanted. But Dr. Long never missed a fish fry. You know, we had big crowds, and we made a lot of money till we'd sell out of fish and have to quit. But that's how we made the money to do what we did down there.
Okay. And was the rescue squad intended for this area alone, or did it cover the whole county?
The whole county.
The whole county.
Okay. And people didn't realize that the rescue squad, any time that they came to take you anywhere you needed to go, they thought you had to pay.
Uh-huh.
And that was not true. The rescue, if you wanted to make a donation, that was well and good, but there was no charges.
Wow.
And so one time I tried to advertise for the rescue squad, and you know we used to have the homemakers meetings in every area in the whole county.
Right.
There was, I don't know, 10 or 12, 15 of them all over the whole county.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one time I went to every homemakers meeting in Davie County and made a speech for the rescue squad. And a lot of people didn't know what the rescue squad was. They didn't know that it was available, and they always thought you had to pay for it. And I said, no, there's no charges. And I went to every homemakers meeting there was in Davie County, one so that I could advertise for our rescue squad. Because I thought the world, because we had good men that was working with that. And would you believe the first ambulance, we didn't even have an ambulance, but there was the first, when it first started, you remember, the people that run Eaton's funeral home, Wayne Eaton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't guess you ever.
I never met him.
Ever know him. Well, he had an extra car, and when they needed to take somebody to here to yonder, Wayne used the extra family car from the funeral home. He used that sort of as an ambulance for a good long time.
Well, that's a wonderful service that he provided.
It was a service he provided, yes, because we could call him and when we had something special that somebody that really needed to be taken care of.
Okay.
And there was one time that there was a family that lived here in Davie County that had a son that he was one of the little preachers, you know, that he didn't know the Bible, bless his heart, but he would stand on the street corner and try to talk about the Bible. But anyway, he went to Florida, and he had some health issues. So his mom, and he got sick down there. So his mom and dad wanted the rescue squad to go down there and get him and bring him home. And they did.
They did?
They did. There was three people, there was 3 of the members that went, and that way somebody could drive for so many hours and let the other rest, and then somebody else could drive. So they went all the way to Florida and got him and brought him home. And
he got well, everything was good?
well, I don't know if he ever got well, but everything was better.
Right.
Because he needed to be at home where his family could take care of him and where he could see the doctor at a regular basis. But Buck, my husband, went with him. There was 3 of them went. so that they could exchange, you know, 'cause that's a long way
Mm-hmm.
from here down to there and back, and so that one could rest and the other one could drive, and you know they could exchange like that. So there was 3 of them that went.
That's amazing.
But we did a lot, and when we had all the fish fries and all the things like that, and some of the neighbors, lady neighbors, would gather together on that afternoon that we were going to have it that night, and peel potatoes and fix them so for our French fries. Cause see, we didn't have a machine to do, you know, cut them up with, you know, and then.
I can't imagine peeling thousands of potatoes
Well,
over the years.
they would do that, and the several of the neighbors, lady neighbors in the neighborhood, would gather that afternoon and peel potatoes and fix them ready for the fish fries.
I'm just really sorry I didn't live here when all these fresh fish fries were going on.
Well,
Sounds like I missed a fine
well, you did
evening.
miss a good time because we'd have the biggest crowds, honestly, and the building, we built that building especially to have for that, you know, and then we built another building that was on up the road a little further, that was back where they cooked them. They had the big old pans in there and the fryers and everything. That's where they would cook them
Okay.
and bring them down to
serve 'em.
to our place to serve them down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, y'all sound like a very organized crowd.
Well, we had a hard time of getting enough stuff to put into their tables and chairs and that kind of thing. And that was about the time that Coolamy sold a lot of some place down there sold a lot of tables and stuff like that. And we went down there and bought tables and whatever. That's where our tables came from. For
Perfect.
something that closed in Coolamy.
Okay.
And they were selling all of that, and we bought that, and that's how we got our tables and and chairs
Okay.
from down there. We had to.
Wylene,
those.
does the rescue squad still operate?
Oh yeah, it's still
Okay.
there's still a group that will
active.
go and do things.
And
Yeah,
it's still a volunteer
a
nonprofit?
non-profit. Cause no, they never charged, and that trip that they made all the way to Florida and back, the men just gave their time and bought gas and the rescue squad paid for it.
Okay.
And
And was it
Wait,
medical emergencies mostly that they responded to?
well, just when people needed, if somebody got really bad sick and needed to go to the hospital or needed to go to the doctor, it was whatever they needed.
Okay.
Or people that were sick that needed to go, you know, back to the doctor for a check, for this or that,
Okay.
whatever,
Okay.
that was sick. That was what it was for.
Okay.
And they never ever charged a penny to nobody.
I think that's very impressive.
And a lot of people in Davie County didn't even know what the rescue squad was, but we really tried to advertise it. And then when we was trying to build that building, I did tell you about us collecting money with a pet bucket out in Moxville on the street. I done that, you know, all of us did. We worked at that, and we'd hard slow down, and we'd go with our bucket to,
That's amazing.
for a little bit of change.
Right,
If
right.
you've got any change, give it to us. And I went to every homemakers meeting that was in Davie County, because people didn't know what the rescue squad was, and they thought you had to pay, and they didn't know all that. So I went to every one in our whole county. I don't know how many it was. There's a bunch of them. And every little neighborhood had a homemakers group. And I went and I just told them all about our rescue squad. And we had good men that were working in there, and we had some that were nurses that would help out when they needed to. And poor Wayne Eaton, he had our first ambulance. And I never will forget one time, there was several times though. One time there was a boat that was out on a lake. I don't know just where it was here, but it was right here in the county. And something happened, and they were afraid that they had to be careful that nobody got drowned and that kind of thing. Anyway, Davie County, we didn't have a boat, but there was a preacher. Maybe I shouldn't say. Well, I don't know his name. Maybe I should not tell where he was. That'd help. Cause if anybody reading this, I don't want nobody reading all of this.
We'll just leave it at a preacher. We'll just say preacher.
And he had some sort of a little old boat, but it was old and it wasn't very reliable. And so Buck went with him when they were going to go out to do some sort of a little rescue, and the thing would keep giving out. And he said, you know what? If I wasn't a preacher, I'd cuss this thing. he was a preacher down there. He said because they was having trouble and they was trying their best to, do a good thing. And he said, if I wasn't a preacher, I'd cuss this thing.
I love that.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. But got a good kick out of that. But then they did finally get enough money at the rescue squad that they bought their own boat.
Okay.
And my oldest boy, Bob, worked with them a lot. And we had, one time, there was some children that was in the waters and was about to drown. And, rescue squad worked, getting those little girls and getting them safe, and I think about the whole squad was there. And it was right here in our county, and the people that the children, close to the children that there was neighborhood children, and that they were having to try to get out of the water, and they'd called the rescue squad, and well, there was two things about this very story that was good, was because they would call us, the ladies, and we couldn't keep sandwich stuff and stuff, on hand to fix the food to take to them, and we would. There was one of the guys that worked at the grocery store way back then. And I can't remember the man's name that owned the grocery store in Moxville. Anyway, we could call him, the boy that worked there, and he would go and open the store for us, and we could get all kinds of sandwich stuff and bread and whatever we needed, because we didn't have a place then to keep all this stuff.
Right.
But he would meet us at the grocery store, and we could get what we needed to have to go. And then I remember one time that he did that, and then we went out to Miller's. We had a big old coffee thing. We could make coffee, but we needed to go, and it takes a long time to make a big pot of coffee like that. So we went out to Miller's and asked them if we could have a pot of coffee. And they charged us for that pot of coffee.
No way.
They did. I've always felt bad about that. Because we worked hard to make our little bit of money, and here we are going out in the cold to try to feed somebody and have a coffee. And it was $40-some. $40-some. But anyway, we soon got our own coffee pot.
Good.
and got to the place. Well, we built a building. We had a building. And then once we got a building, then we got to where we could have some of the stuff that we needed. But anyway, Miller's charged us, and I can't ever forget that. I just cannot forget that. I guess I have forgiven them.
It sounds like it.
But anyway, that was one of the things that was really hard. But our men did a lot of rescuing and a lot of work, and carried a lot of people from here to there. And the rescue squad was wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Well, it sounds like a lot of folks in the county need to be appreciative
Well,
of everything that you and others.
well, and I thought about that too, because we did a lot of hard work to get that thing and to get it going. And there was one time when I was talking about these children that needed to be rescued, and they spent a lot of time there. And right close to where this body of water was, there was a man had a store. That it was out in the country, and he had a store, and so the man went up to his house and went into his smokehouse and whatever, and got a ham out, brought it back to that store, and the wife went to making biscuits and frying ham.
Wow.
And feeding our rescue
Wonderful.
our workers.
Wonderful.
Now that was one time that was really, really good, that people did that and helped out. But the rescue squad was a wonderful thing, and a lot of hard people, people put a lot of hard time in.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of hard work down there with the with the fries.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the fish fries.
I'm glad I missed making the French fries. I'm sorry that I didn't get to eat the fish, but I'm glad I didn't have to make the French fries.
Well, our neighbor ladies would peel potatoes and get them all fixed, and you know, then there in the later years we did get a thing that would cut them up. You know, yeah, you still have to peel, but the ladies were also good about bringing cakes and having cakes for us to have to serve and that kind of thing.
Wylene, let me ask you to talk just for a couple minutes because we're probably close to time.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the quilting club so that we can get that on the tape? Tell us a little bit about how that got started and some of the things that group
Okay.
has done.
Well, this was Mariana Schmoot. She quilted just like I was, and making lots of quilts and lots of quilts.
I'll get that. You go ahead and talk.
And she and I don't know, we said it would be nice because they were teaching, having quilting lessons at different places out town
Okay.
then. And we said, well, wouldn't it be good if we could just get together and have our own little own little classes, and that we could, you know, teach what we know and different ones into the county that maybe were good quilters that would come. And we got it started like that.
Okay.
And we had, a bunch of members. It was big, and we had kept it like that for a long time.
That's wonderful.
We had it for a long time. And I was in it till I got to where I couldn't see.
Right.
You know, my eyes got bad, and I just got to where I couldn't see the quilt
Right.
hardly. And right now, even I can knit a little bit, but knitting is not like quilting. So we had a big bunch of people, and we did a lot of things. And we'd go to the VA, we'd make the little lap things, and we'd call down there and ask if we could bring them down there, and which building had the most in the wheelchairs. And so they would tell us, and so we would just make a whole bunch of that like that and take them down there and go into the building, and those men were tickled to death over those things.
That's
We
wonderful.
give them to them to put on their laps, you know, they were so proud of that.
Right.
And it was just so good to do that. And then we made, you know, the hospital, that's the children's hospital, what's the name of it, that's away from here? You see advertised a lot that they want you to be a member of it.
The one in Morganton?
What's the name of
Oh, in Winston.
it? No, it's not Winston.
Oh.
I don't think it is.
The Children's Miracle Network.
Huh?
The Children's Miracle Network.
It's not that. Well, what's the name of it? Other than that, you see it advertised all the time on TV.
Is it Brenner's? Oh,
No,
it's St. in Winston.
St. Jude's.
St. Jude's.
Okay.
St. Jude's, that's what it is. And so one time we decided to make a bunch of little quilts to take up to there. And Mariana and a cousin of hers made a trip up to there, and we had made 55. We had made 55 little quilts to take up there for those kids. See, they're all kids that's in that little hospital. And so she and her cousin, we had 55 of them, and took them up there for the
That is remarkable.
there for that. And so we tried to do good things here and yonder and everywhere.
I think you accomplished that.
If there was anybody right here in the county that needed traveling, needed to be carried to Winston or carried somewhere else for stuff, you know, some of our men did that, and we did lots of good work.
I think that's remarkable.
Just real proud of it.
Let me close on this. So you've just turned 100 and the community has celebrated you. What tips do you have for the rest of us?
What tips?
Uh-huh.
Keep moving.
There you go.
Just keep moving. If you sit down and quit, you've had it. You need to keep moving, and I walk every day. I'm take this. This is Charlie. His name is Charlie, and that belonged to my dad many years ago. And so I take him. I use him here in the house a whole lot. I can just walk so much better with him.
Okay.
And I take him and get into the driveway out there, and we walk and walk and walk, and I try to do that I don't always get it done every day. I don't like the wind,
Right.
but when it's good weather, you can't just sit down and quit. If you do that, you've had it.
Right.
And I'm not ready to do that. I do my housework. This little lady right there, she's gotten to the place my boys has got to where they think my good is not good enough. And they wanted me to have somebody to help me to do it. And I said, my goodness, I can't do that. I can't do that. I just do what I can and keep it the best I can, but she just comes in and, you know.
I help you out.
And so, but anyway, you just can't stop. You can't stop. And of course, I go to church and belong to a ladies' Bible class that meets every Tuesday morning. We do that. And anything else that I need to do, I just try to you just got to keep moving. You can't sit down and quit.
In addition to Charlie, I understand that there's a John Deere somewhere around here.
There is a John Deere. Oh, and I messed up my John Deere picture over there. I was over there the other day. I dropped a key and couldn't find it. The picture.
Oh dear.
And
Oh,
I
she
had
broke the
that
frame.
hanging up there underneath that picture. That's right there, had it hanging up there. And I bumped that thing and it fell off of its nail. And that's what, and off of the wall. That's my John Deere. I love to mow. I go out there and get on that thing. And you know, I made a mistake about a month ago. My oldest son called he calls me late every afternoon. And he called, he said, now Mom, because I fell here a few months ago and sort of messed up this hip a little bit, you know. Wonder I didn't break something, but I have had a hard time with it. But I try not to let anybody know anymore about that than I have to.
Okay.
But anyhow, my son knows, and he's such a good boy, and he's always looked after his mama.
Good.
And so he said, now Mom, I want you to promise me something. And I said, okay, what? He said, I don't want you to get on that lawnmower no more. He said he was afraid I'd fall trying to get on it. The step is kind of high, but anyway, and he said, because he knew I'd been having trouble with it more. And so I said, no, Bob, don't ask me that, because I love to mow. I love to mow.
Wow.
My little John Deere, we bought that thing new. Oh, it's about 10 years old, but it still looks just like a new one, because it's a John Deere, and we got it from the place up here between here and Statesville. There's a John Deere place up there, and every year we use that thing the whole summer, and then once we get all the leaves taken care of from these two trees up here, I call them, and they come and pick it up. That's what they do. They come and pick it up, take it into the place, and they go over it, if anything needs fixing, they'll call and tell me what it's gonna cost.
Okay.
And I'll tell them, fix it, and so, then they'll bring it back, and of course that costs me money, but, that way I've taken care of it, and they go over the whole thing, and we've taken care of it and not let it get skinned up and, dents and nothing like, it looks just like a brand new one yet.
Mhm.
And I'm so proud of that thing.
It sounds
I
like
tell
it.
everybody, if it's not a John Deere, it's not, that's not much of a lawnmower.
Well, John Deere ought to put you in a commercial.
I
Well,
think the truth.
I would do it, if they wanted me to, because that's what I tease everybody at church. They'll say something about their mowing, and I say, what kind of mower you got? And I find out, and I say, oh, no wonder. How do you get your grass cut like that? But anyway, and I said that when I climb up there, if I can hold on to the steering wheel and the back of the thing, I said, if them two things don't give, I can swing my butt right around in the seat, and then I'm good to go. Once I get in that seat, I'm good to go. Cause I can handle the rest of it.
Well, I'm gonna have to take your word for that because I'm not sure I want to watch it. It would make me too
No.
nervous.
Oh no, that ain't no big deal. All I do is just step off of the step and step up into the other part and try to get myself seated. And once I get seated, boy, I'm
You're
good to
good.
go.
I love it.
Takes about 2 hours for me to mow
Shoot.
my yard. But Bob made me, he didn't make me, but he asked me, kept begging me, please, Mama, don't, cause Chuck mows part of the time, and part of the time my guy that lives right here, I'll hear a mower going, and first thing I know, he's out mowing my yard.
Aw.
So anyway, as long as it gets mowed and taken care of, I like for my yard to look good.
Well, it does. We were impressed when we drove up.
I like for my yard to look good, and I love my little John Deere. I said different ones at church laugh about me about that, cause they'll say something about their lawnmower broke or something like this, and I said, "This is a John Deere. No wonder it broke." But anyway, but we have fun about my John Deere.
It sounds like it.
But we bought it, I think, in '09. We've had it that
Wow.
long. But if you go out there and look at it, it looks just like a brand new one because,
You're taking good care of it.
yes, and that's one thing I told Chuck. He doesn't have a mower, but he'll mow my yard and then he goes over there and mows his yard. But when he started that, I said, now listen, we got to take care of it. And I said, now, just don't put it in any situation that's not good for it. And I said, when you get through, please clean it up and fix, just blow it off and clean it up. And I said, and then please put enough gas in it, because, I don't drive no more. So I can't go get gas. So I said, well, when you get through, please put enough gas in it so that I can, if I take a notion to mow my yard, then I can. So that's what he's supposed to do, and he takes care of it too. So if you went out there and looked at it, it's not dented or anything. It looks just like a brand new one. But I'm so proud of my little John Deere.
I can tell. I think that's wonderful.
I'm proud of my John Deere because we bought it in '09 before my husband passed away.
Okay. Well, Wylene, I'm going to bring this to a close because I don't want to wear you out.
Oh, honey, you're
But this has been great fun.
nobody can ever talk more than I can.
Amen.
So thank you very much. And you've told us some wonderful things that
Can
you've
you
done.
believe that I worked at Davie County Hospital for 25 years, and then I had to quit a while, and then I went back and worked about that many years, and then after they closed the hospital, and then I had gotten acquainted with the nursing home. I knew way back yonder. When the nursing homes first started, a lot of people would comment that that's where you took your folks if you didn't want to take care of them at home. I mean, that was true. But anyway, the nursing home was just a super place to go. And so after they closed our Davie County Hospital, we had to take my dad down there. And we didn't want to. We both my sisters and I said we we had to take him in an ambulance because he'd been in the hospital. We had to take him down to Alden Care, and we said we'd rather be taking him to the graveyard because, you know, we'd heard so many stories about nursing homes and that kind of thing. And so we took Dad down there because Dr. Kimberly would not let us bring him home. He said, you just can't manage. You can't manage. You just got to do this. So that's what we did. And so once we got down there and we saw how it all worked and how nice everybody was and the way they took care of their patients and everything, we were so happy with that.
Good.
And I thought, my goodness, I wouldn't mind being here a little while. So anyhow, they had a lady there that planned activities for the patients every day. And I saw what she did. Well, that's the job I wanted. And I thought, oh my, I would just be happy doing that. And so I talked to David. David Joyner was the one that was in charge of that part. Anyway, I talked to David after I saw how everything operated, and we were so happy. My dad was happy there.
Good.
And so then we finally was happy, had to take Buck's mother there, and she was there too for a while. But anyhow, I said, David, if she ever quits, I'd like to talk to you about her job. He said, Wylene, let me tell you, that may be before you think about it, because some days she lays out, and she don't come. And so he's there by himself, you know, there's nobody to do all. And he said, the next time she lays out, I'll talk to you. Well, honestly, it wasn't but 2 or 3 days until she did not show up for work. And he come back down to Dad's room and he said, Wylene, you still want that job? I said, yes. And so I went to work and I stayed there for a long time. He and I planned activities for him every day and all the time, and I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Wow.
We made some of the ladies could still sew.